All right, everybody, we're back with another dad jokes and deep dives. It's been a long 2 weeks since we've had an episode.
Well, there's a lost episode.
Yeah, so there's the long lost episode. I guess what Friday last? It was the Friday before last.
It was the Friday that Rachel and them left.
Yeah, so
for the trip. So it was
last Friday
Yeah.
when Rachel and Maggie left, they went to a beta convention, DECA convention in Orlando. Whenever we got together, we filmed about 10 or 15 minutes, and it glitched out, so we had to restart it. So I still have that first 15 minutes, but it glitched out. Started another recording. We went for like an hour and 15 minutes on the next recording. It was, some of it was a little slow content, but towards the end it was very funny, especially when we started laying on each other, talking about food. Of course, the conversation merged to food and restaurants,
as
like it
often
always does.
But
But it is lost forever in a corrupted file on my computer. So we couldn't retrieve it. If anybody ever wants to see the first 15 minutes or however long it is, I've got it. But it was just talking about. We'll touch on some of that. But if you want to just tell, so they left Friday, took an airplane ride to Orlando. Let's just see how things are going with you since then.
Yeah, so they left the day that we recorded the long lost episode. Everything was pretty smooth except for their flight was delayed, so I didn't sleep much Friday because I was waiting to hear back from them. They got in super late Friday, and they've been busy ever since. Like, Rachel says they're pretty much getting like just a couple hours of sleep every night. They're getting in late, and they're getting up early. Today they're at Epcot.
So they've already done a lot of the...
Yeah, the DECA stuff's over.
Okay.
So they competed. They all had a chance to compete in their... in whatever category or competition they had. Maggie, none of the Litchfield kids, Grayson County kids, or whatever, got finals, but they all did really good, and she got like top 25%, and so
that's awesome.
Her group got top 25%, from my understanding, which out of like a couple hundred kids, that's pretty solid.
Right.
So I'm pretty proud of her. I think she's having a good time. They got to go to Universal a couple times. They had a regular Universal day, and then they had a day where they was shut down. The park was shut down just for DECA kids.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So they didn't have to wait in a lot of lines, or maybe
yeah,
it was
they
still
had a little
busy,
weather,
gotcha.
So that kind of messed some things up. But they got to ride some stuff, and they've just been running, having a good time. I think she's a little bit tired, ready to get home, which they come home tomorrow. They're supposed to be home pretty early, so. I don't know, but when we talked about everything that I was going to do, how I was going to stay busy this week, because I just didn't want to stay at home and think about being home alone and being bored and missing them. I said I had all these intentions of working on my landscaping, maybe cleaning the house. So far, goose egg.
0 done.
We're at the 11th hour. They're coming home tomorrow, and I've accomplished nothing. I've done a little laundry. My normal stuff. I've, taken care of the dogs. They're still above the ground and fed, and but we touched on it a little bit before we started, but this landscaping thing has just got me in a bind, dude. I've got all these intentions to fix up this little area in my backyard. My backyard is small. You've seen it. It's small, fenced-in backyard. And there's a little area where we pulled up some raised beds that is probably 20 by 20, maybe. Perfect rectangle shape. It's kind of boxed in by a fence on one side, and then it's got some hydrangeas that run to the house. So it's a perfect little like courtyard area that's private. You can't see in there, but it's perfect for like a fire pit. And all I've done all week is just look at Pinterest. Like a woman,
like get ideas, but not start on.
Oh well,
anything.
I just for hours I go, ooh, that's nice. I just keep scrolling. Ooh, I like that. Oh, I went to Dixie Yardworks yesterday. I don't know if you know anything about Dixie Yardworks, but massive place that has all this like stone and rock, and I was thinking getting some nice rocks to like border around this fire pit area, and do some other landscaping with them, because I just like that look of big rocks and boulders and stuff.
Right.
And I don't know what rocks are like natural, right? They come from the earth. Like,
Yeah.
At what point do they become the same as like gold and
like
silver?
Antiques that you gotta go buy. Like if you
like
just spent the time and dig them up.
I go, geez, the rocks, right? They're going to be, I knew rock was expensive, but you told me you got some sweet gravel for your stuff, and we'll talk about that too. $21, $22 for
$22 for a ton.
A ton of gravel, and so I'm thinking, yeah, I'm going to get some decorative rocks, but they'll be affordable. I go and it's like a pallet of the rocks that I want to get is $700.
Golly, man.
For a pallet, dude.
That's unbelievable.
From something that was in the earth that someone dug up
out
of a field or whatever. I guess that's how you get rocks, or blasting them, whatever.
Yeah.
Nice looking rocks, though. They're not like riprap or whatever that people use to like do drainage and stuff like that. We're getting crazy with the talk, but
I've got some that whenever I was plowing the garden this year, I've got some that were very pretty. They're dirty, what I mean, because they were pulled out of the earth, but it's very similar to what, kind of like a creek rock type stuff. I'm assuming you're thinking of.
Yep.
It's funny because we have a big creek back here, but I'm the opposite of you. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not like I'm rolling in dough here. I don't have any money, but at the same time, I would much rather go buy it. Than try to find it or go dig it up myself.
Don't absolutely. Yeah. So if we were role reversal and I had this property and I was living here and I had this grand idea of this fire pit area with these rocks, borders and all this, and I knew there was a creek down there, yes, it would live in the back of my mind that I could just go down there and harvest those rocks from the creek. Creek rock looks amazing. I've seen a lot of nice stuff done with that, but I'm very much a buy, get it done, purchase it type of guy, but a trip to Dixie Yardworks would change your mind about that. Not saying shout out Dixie Yardworks, so nice, it's the coolest place. No, I'm saying you'll go down there and get the rocks.
Where's it
creek.
at?
It's in Radcliffe on 31. They have a lot of cool stuff. They're super nice. We've dealt with them a few times. They do a lot of hardscape stuff, and they've got fire pits and all the so I was just mesmerized. I was just walking around. Every type of like granite. They have these big granite benches that you can buy, like a slab of granite.
That would be nice around
$1,000 for one, but a super nice, probably 6-foot granite bench with granite legs. So I mean, it's it's all really nice stuff. Some of it is just slabs of granite and marble or whatever, and some of it's from Tennessee and different states. So it's nice stuff if you have the money. But needless to say, I may have to look for a cheaper alternative. So my idea, I've got a lot of stuff on my Pinterest, but I want a simple fire pit area. I was going to build a fire pit, and then I got to thinking, this is going to be on top of some utilities, so I'm not going to go with the traditional route. I know I've been bugging you and having you go out there and measure yours, and you got like a block, what a lot of people would think is a traditional fireplace, like a cinder block,
retaining wall blocks.
So that was the original idea, and then I got to think about all that heat on the ground. I do have some utilities, so I'm gonna buy like a bowl or like a
like an already made. Yeah, gotcha.
It's a knockoff of like Solo stove, like a smokeless.
Right.
Menards has one. I'm gonna get that instead, and still kind of make it look nice.
I would like something very. Yes, we'll get into some good stuff here in a second, but I'm the same way. We have migrated that fire pit. When I got it, I was like so excited. Hey, we're gonna have a fire pit.
Yep.
And then now it's simply used to burn like Christmas wrapping paper or stuff like. When we have too much trash, we throw a bunch of cardboard in there and burn it. So it's kind of migrated to something enjoyable that you would sit around to just a tool.
Yeah.
But I would like to have one of those propane type fire pit things that they have that we could sit under the porch out here.
Yeah, you can get the nice ones that don't have a very big flame and all that are propane based. This is going to be a wood burning smokeless fire pit, very small, but I'm going to border it with some rock and stuff if I can mortgage my house and give me some rock, or take a loan out or something. But anyway, that's what I've been doing, is just dreaming of all these things and not putting anything into motion. It's also very inconvenient to drive a 4-door sedan and think about going, like, I got to get probably 50 bags of mulch. I think I told you that's probably what it would take to mulch my yard.
Yeah.
It needs a lot of work. So it's like, what do you do?
Yeah.
You sit around with all these good ideas, even if you have the money, and you could afford the rock and the mulch, and then, so I asked him about delivery, dude, and it was like...
it's the same thing I paid $20 for a ton of gravel. If I would have had the gravel delivered, it would have been well over $100 because the delivery fee, I think they add at least $80.
No, dude, yes,
if not more, to just deliver it.
So they told me some crazy calculation of delivery because I asked, and I still don't know what it would cost, but I know it would be a lot. He was like, yeah, so it's 30 blah 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 a mile, but if it's passed so far, and then there's a dump fee, and I'm like, never mind.
Yeah.
Like, sorry I asked. I hate to waste your time, but like, I'm not going to be having you deliver it.
Yeah.
So like, let's say I did shell out $700 for this pallet of beautiful rocks. That the pallet would probably do what I want to do.
Right.
Plus maybe give me a few extra. I would probably have to make 3 trips to get it because I'm sure it's super heavy.
Yeah.
So even if I did have a truck, I'm going to go and I'm going to buy a pallet and I'm going to break it down and make a bunch of trips. So there's still some logistical things. And this is just dad talk, guys. We're not trying to bore you to death, but this is the plight of a man without a truck, a man with very little budget, who has a lot of big ideas.
And the thing I think is funny about the scenario is you're sitting here talking to me about yard work and a plan that you've been spending a lot of time planning and researching. I'm the complete opposite. Like, I knew that we were going to replace the rock that you're talking about. I knew that we wanted to replace the mulch out there with rock. Because we wanted to, again, more dad talk. We wanted to lessen the risk of termites. We wanted to not replace the mulch every freaking year.
Yeah. So
I was like, that had been in my mind that I needed to do it, but there was zero planning. Saturday morning, I went and ate lunch with Ashley at work, and as soon as I left, I'm like, let me see what time the quarry closes. Nice. And I, with zero plan, went out there, got a ton of gravel, come back here, and it's a funny story in itself. Is I get back and I text Aiden on the way home. I was like, you need to get outside clothes on because you're
get some shoes on, boy.
You're gonna help me unload this gravel.
That's right.
So I pull in the drive, get in, load it in. My truck, I've got an '04 Dodge Ram, and it looks like a lowrider in the back. I mean, that ton dropped it significantly. And I pull in, park. Me and him spend the next couple hours unloading it. And the most awesome thing about being a dad is whenever I told him to help, like, I assumed that I was going to take the harder of the two tasks because he's not to that age yet where he's
grabbing like a handful of gravel out of the back. He's like, I got it.
So I was filling up I have a 3-gallon bucket and a 5-gallon bucket, and we were just filling those buckets up and then going and dumping the rock. Well, at first it was kind of like one at a time, but then we changed to like an assembly line. Well, I was quick at filling those buckets up, so I was like, here, take these. Well, the harder job was definitely filling up the buckets because you were shoveling and you were scooping. All you had to do with the bucket was walk it over to a little spot, dump it, and bring the bucket back.
Nice.
Well, at some point early on, he goes, can we switch jobs? Aiden, are you sure that you want to switch jobs? And he goes, yeah, I don't like all the walking. And I'm like, okay, sure, we can switch jobs. And I'm looking at him like, all right.
Throw the shovel at him quick.
So the next couple hours that we're doing this, he's sitting there, shoveling, filling the buckets up for me. And he's doing, and I'm not making fun of him by any means, so nobody take it this way, but he's going at a very slow pace that I have enough time to go get popsicles.
Nice.
I'm taking my time.
Checking your phone.
Yeah, I'm playing on my phone, and raking stuff around. By the time he gets a bucket full, I go grab it, dump it, come back, and I'm sitting around waiting. So it was a nice little experience.
Yeah.
We got a nice little sunburn.
Oh.
Then when we got done, Aiden has never driven a vehicle before, so he said, Dad, can I pull... We had a bunch of gravel spill out of the back of the truck where the tailgate drops.
Right between tailgate, yeah.
And he said, can I pull the truck up?
You're like, that's right, son.
I
You got a little
appreciate
proudful moment there. He was like, yeah, that's right.
I'm like, So I didn't turn him down. Any other time, I feel like I would have said no. But I was like, man, you've helped me today. Yeah. Let's let him pull this up. So I'm giving him specific instructions. Put your foot on the brake. He puts his left foot on the brake, and I'm like, whoa. Only use one foot. Yeah. We don't do that. I said,
there's not a clutch in there.
You use one foot. Always use your right foot. I said, because I remember the first time I put my foot on the left, you like slam the brakes because you're not expecting that
brake
pressure.
Torquing. The only time you do that's when you want to show off.
Yeah, when you want to show off. Well, let me tell you, he showed off because he puts it into drive finally after I get him through those steps, and I'm like, when you let off this brake, I said it should just roll forward. It should have enough idle power that it will roll you forward. Well, it doesn't. For some reason, my truck did not roll forward. Well,
Truck's like, I got other plans.
I said, very gently, and when I say gently, I mean all you're going to do is just simply apply a little pressure. And that is the... next thing you know, there is grass flying. I've got a spot...
He's just burning out John Force.
Oh, yeah. 2 spots where both tires were. So, I mean, it hit pause traction right there. Both spots.
You got to think...
no grass.
You got to think... As dads, we say gently push the gas to a kid who's never touched a gas. His comparison would be like playing a racing game on a controller where he's pushing the A button.
Yeah.
And there's no...
You push it and it's down. Yeah, there's no pressure. You push it and it goes. Well,
so there's no comparison.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing we got to remember as dads in the back of our mind and take ourselves back into that. You don't know what gentle is.
Yeah.
So I could imagine he was like, well, it's not... He might have gave it a little bit and thought, well, let's not do anything. Maybe it's on a hill. So he goosed it, didn't he?
Another mistake I made is I did this all from outside the vehicle.
Oh,
so I really should have been in there because I was standing by the window telling him what to do. I was like, now shut the door.
You're playing fire that day.
And whenever he finally took off and he starts throwing grass everywhere and he goes up forward, I'm like, whoa, stop. And all he does is just take his foot off the gas.
He's still rolling.
He's like, it's still rolling down through the yard. And I'm like, whoa, so you have to put your foot on the brake. And I didn't realize, I probably should have been in there the whole time. He never put a seatbelt on. He could have easily went through my neighbor's fence and barn over here.
You must have had a little bit of heat poisoning that day. You're like, hey, get in the truck. I'm not feeling great. If you don't care... fire the thing up and pull forward.
I had a sugar high from all the popsicles, man. I was just not paying attention at all.
You had a spike in blood sugar, and you're like giving him the keys and giving him your bank account information, asking him to drive and get you all some McDonald's.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I'm glad you got to experience that, though, because we've been experiencing a little bit of that the past couple of months with Maggie.
Yeah.
With her driving. She got her permit. I don't know if we talked about it on the Lost episode.
I don't think so.
I think that would have... I took her Monday... before the
we talked about you going and getting, but I've not heard any.
We got her permit, and it's a process, dude. Mm-hmm. They've got the place in Owensboro. They don't do the. You can't get it local. You can't get the permit local. You have to go to the whatever they call them. So we go there 8:00 in the morning. Her appointment's 8:30, and the line is already out the door.
Mm.
But anyway, long story short, she gets it, nails it. But we've been doing some driving in parking lots. I've been taking her to parking lots, and it's the same thing. I have to change my vocabulary because I'm like, just a little gas, a little brake. Well, they still don't have a concept of what a little gas or a little brake is because they've never done any gas or brake.
Right.
But outside of the first couple times and that initial, getting used to the throttle and getting used to, like you said, where a car will roll on its own, you don't always have to press the gas.
Yeah.
She's done pretty good.
That's
and
awesome.
now that she's got the permit, Rachel's been taking her, letting her drive to Dollar General down the road.
Gotcha.
And she says she's doing good. I haven't went on the streets with her. I've been the parking lot driver with her, but when she gets back, we're gonna hit the road, start getting out. So now that she has the permit,
yeah, it's a good deal.
And she's doing really good. But man, it is it's an interesting thing to be in that side of it.
Right.
I think back to let's talk about this a minute. So, do you remember the first time you drove a vehicle?
So the first time I probably drove a vehicle where I was kind of being taught this. I feel like it would have been my pap when we're talking cars, trucks, not tractors or lawnmowers. So my papa had an old, I think it was like a 1978 Ford F-150, or I don't even think it was an F-150. What were they?
F-100 probably.
Yeah, F-100.
Yeah.
So it was something he used just as an old farm truck, and I remember driving it. That was probably the first, if I remember correctly, unless somebody let me drive some. But I mean, nothing I ever drove at a young age was complicated. You know, it was or automatic. You know, that kind of thing.
So you remember like the first times riding with your dad and him giving you instruction and all that?
Yeah, Dad is. Dad, if you listen to this, I love you. But he is not the most super patient. Now, I know for a fact him and my sister struggled. Me and him didn't struggle too much when it came to driving. Like, there was a few things he had to correct me on, but I know whenever my sister Renee would drive, you know, there was a, like, hey, don't do that, you know, stay on your side of the road, you know.
My dad was the opposite. He was pretty patient. But I didn't mean to cut you off, but what else we can say?
Well, I just, you know, I feel like, and I'm not saying this is not a men are a better driver than women conversation. That's not what I'm saying.
No,
but
it is.
For some reason, I don't know if it was video games or what it was, but I do feel like driving came a little bit more
natural
to me. You know what I mean? Maybe it's because I was mowing at a young age and I got on the lawnmower and had to steer in straight lines. And
that's what I was going to say. A lot of kids from our age around here grew up driving tractors or driving even the farm truck around on the land. Yeah. So I feel like a lot of people were it was natural. I didn't have that experience when I got. I remember being a really young kid and my aunt let me sit in her lap and she would let me steer down there at Caneyville around this. People used it as a walking track, but it was a road, and she would let me steer. I remember her doing that, and but the first time I ever drove, I want to say, me and my dad were driving our van, our Ford Aerostar van, slick ride we had, and we were going back to my mama's from going to town, and we were on her road, that windy road, that cut-off road, the one you wiped out on the first time.
A little red Nissan truck just ended up in the ditch.
My dad's like, I was 15, I think I was a freshman or something, and he was like, we were talking about driving, and he just pulls over, and he's like, you're driving us back to mama's. I had never driven worked the pedals or anything, and so I just did what I thought I should do and did pretty good. And then I remember I parked in the driveway, and I was just sideways in the driveway when we got out, and he just laughed. He thought it was hilarious, but he was super patient. My dad was like, I told you, I think we talked in the other one about me driving when we were talking about first cars, him taking me out to drive that Mustang. And despite me probably burning the clutch to death and like doing all this, killing it all the time, like he was always so patient. But he did have an interesting time with my brother. You talked about your sister struggling.
Yeah.
My brother, so they had a car. My dad had a Taurus that was my papa's, that green Taurus. We drove it all over the place, I think. Back in the day, took it to races. It was like an
early 2000s.
Early 2000s
like
Taurus.
The bubble eyes or whatever.
It was that car was my car when I would wreck my cars. My papa would let me drive it. It was an awesome car. But my dad was taking my brother out to drive when they lived over on Sunbeam. And you remember they had those two driveways, and it was steep up to the road. Their house was like down from the road.
I didn't like parking in the one in front of your front door. I would rather go around
You used to park down at the side because you could turn around down there and all that. Well, they were pulling out of the main driveway, and they were pulling straight out instead of backing out. And so, of course, they had to cut it really hard to get on the road. My brother had it cut, and he's going up there, and he got where the tires were dropping off. Remember, they had that big ditch in the front?
Yeah.
And my dad went to grab the wheel, and my brother hit the gas instead of the brake and drove all the way through that ditch and hit the other end of it. Remember the other driveway had a concrete thing? I think it did. He hit that, like busted his mouth up and stuff. And so he had a bit of a moment with that. That's the kind of things I think of when Maggie is driving, even in those parking lots. Because now, by the fourth or fifth time we went to a parking lot to drive, she was a little bit more confident. You know, she was getting a little cocky, and she would goose the gas a little bit. And I'm like, listen, this thing will get away from you quick. Yeah. And then I tell her the story about my brother wrecking basically in the front yard, gas versus brake, and like getting one confused for the other. I told her that was one of the first things when we sit in the car. I was like, all right, get used to the shifter. Get used to how it starts. get that routine going, and every car's different, blah, blah. And I said, to get used to where the gas, I said, go back and forth, gas and brake, just with your foot. Because I've done that before where I've hit the gas instead of the brake or whatever. But it's just an interesting...
Oh,
no, go ahead.
What vehicle was she in? Yours?
She drove mine one day.
Is it V6?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a big...
It's a Maxima. It's like 300 horsepower.
Yeah.
That's fast. Shout out Nissan. Well, she did drive mine one day, but my car, dude, the back tires are bald and it drives really bad. Once we drove her mom, she was like, "Oh, this is so much better."
Yeah.
She was like, "I love Mom's car."
I've been hot rodding yours.
Dude, I told her, I was like, "Listen, this ain't Mom's car." I was like, "It's double the horsepower. It's not a Corvette. I mean, it's a Nissan Maxima, but I was like,
it's a big difference, though. Yep.
And she said she could tell the difference, but Rachel's car's peppy too. Those little Sentras are peppy. They've got a lot of acceleration.
Yeah.
But it's just a weird dynamic. Like these kids are getting to the age now where we're having to like the role reversal. Like we're the teachers and stuff, and I try to remember back to my dad doing things and just his patience, because he's always been a very patient man, and I'm not. I'm more like my mom. And maybe I think she should know things a little more. Maggie should know things a little, when we're doing stuff. I'm like, how do you not know that? Or how do you not see that? Or whatever. But like, dude, it's just, it's so weird, man. It's weird to think about having a kid that's getting ready to be driving.
I feel like what you're explaining right now was me on Saturday.
Yeah.
Because I was like, Aiden, when I was telling him to get ready to start it, put your foot on the brake. Well, which one's the brake?
What do you mean?
What do you mean? Which one's the brake? The big one that's right there. That says,
kids never,
which I mean, he's driven go-karts and stuff like that before, but still,
that's a good.
And they're on opposite, so the gas is always on the right. The brake,
skinny
so
pedal,
but it is a little different. But I just assumed that he should know all this, and he didn't, and I should have took some more time.
You said he's driven go-karts. I told Maggie, I was like telling her the first few times, I said, every time we go-kart riding in Gatlinburg or Florida or whatever, I said, even though the speed's a lot different, the throttle as far as how much you got to push in's a lot different. You got to put mad a go-kart to get to go anywhere, right?
Yeah.
I was like, it's still a good practice and still a good idea to pay attention to some of that stuff, because it does translate to driving. Anytime you're driving anything, getting point A to point B, and you're using a throttle and a brake and you're using the steering wheel, I was like, it's still some of that does translate to it. So I felt like she took a few pointers from that, because she had driven go-karts. She likes to drive go-karts. We do that every time we go to a touristy place, and it doesn't make me the least bit sad, because it takes me back to all those days we used to go hit up the NASCAR speed park and all that.
Dude, so all day.
Speaking of that, I was driving through McDaniel's the other day.
Me too. I thought about that.
And the old place that had the old go-kart track, remember that we rented that one time? We had so much fun. Yeah. That was a good day. That's a storage buildings now. They sell
like a
golf
barn
carts
or something. Yeah, it's something new.
But there's a trailer out front that has those old go-karts on it. So I don't know if they tore down a building or pulled some of those out, but I don't know if they're for sale. But it got me thinking. I was thinking we would probably use those very go-karts that day. So much fun riding go-karts, Bowling Green.
In June of this past year, we went to Pigeon Forge with Ashley's sister and her brother-in-law. And we went one of the days. I was like, let's go to NASCAR Speed Park. So we got like the all-day pass. Yep. Aiden did good for the most part. Don't get me wrong, but he kept doing something that was cracking me up. And I had kept telling him, like, I don't know if it was like a kid thing in him or what, but he kept wanting to steer like this. Like, so he'd be
down the straight.
I'm like, this ain't NASCAR. You don't have to keep your tires warm, dude. Like he was constantly doing it. And I'm like, if you're trying to pass somebody, yes, you want to steer around to try to get around them. I said, but if you're just on a straightaway by yourself, just keep it straight, man. Yeah. So I don't know what that was in him, but he just constantly wanted to.
We hit him up, and I don't know if I talked about that when we went to Gulf Shores. We stopped and did them because both girls, Addie and Maggie, wanted, and Caroline too. She cracks me up. She loves it. They all wanted to do go-karts, and Caroline still rides with me. Yeah, but she's like the best co-pilot, dude. She's like, there they are, get them, and she's helping me, kind of navigating for me and stuff, and she just gets a thrill out of it. But every time I do it, it's like one of those things where I don't know that I'll ever, like, there's things I'm going to get bored of. Like, we don't play basketball as much anymore.
Yeah.
Disc golf came and went. Golf came and went. Like, but go-karts, if somebody said they're opening a go-kart place in Litchfield, I would be like,
oh, yeah.
Well, do they do season passes? Like,
yeah.
for me, just for me.
Yeah.
I mean,
you don't even do it as a family. I'm like, hey Travis, what are you into today? You're up there by yourself. Just
Yeah, yeah.
I've been up the go-kart track for a couple
Rachel
hours.
and Maggie's, I don't know what they're doing, but I'm just putting in some work here at the go-kart track.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give the guy. So, you know, to put it in perspective, how much I love riding go-karts. I don't know if you remember me and David doing that summer league.
Yeah, that was neat.
At Bowling Green. So they had an old go-kart track in Bowling Green that's no longer there. There's something else there now. But it was a little circle track, high banked circle track. And we're talking go-karts like the cheap go-karts that are slow.
Yeah.
That you can ride in any touristy place, whatever. But we used to frequent that place quite often. And the guy that owned it, he was a real cool guy. He was like, I'm going to do a league. He was like, it'll be every Thursday night, and it'll cost you one flat rate. He's like, we'll take points at the end of the year. We'll give out awards and have a banquet and all this. And me and David, being big NASCAR fans, nerds, we're like, oh, yeah, sure, we're going to do it. Yeah. So every Thursday we drove down. I would get off work. Sometimes we'd meet up. Sometimes I'd meet him down there, and we raced that go-kart league. And they tracked our points. I think we did 50-lap races. And then on the last night they did a crazy points thing where I think we did like a 150-lap race, and they broke it up into like 3 things, and they reversed the field, and the point system was different. And anyway, we had a banquet. I remember we ate at Ryan's Steakhouse.
Big
timers. We were in there like, thinking we were so cool. These 20-mile-an-hour go-karts, I know that's all we talked about that whole summer, and we still talk about it to this day.
But David won. Got the opportunity to drive like a race car in at Beach Bend.
That was dude. That was the big prize. Outside of like the little trophies they gave us and stuff, was the winner got to. So they ran a lot of local tracks will run like a 4-cylinder, where basically you just have a little 4-cylinder car.
Yeah, you're in like a Corsica, like a 98
Cavalier or whatever,
Cavalier or something like that.
And most of the time they still require a roll cage and all this and that. Me and David, I actually bought one time. I had one I was going to do race. My dad bought it for me. It was already had the cage in it and everything, but it didn't work out. And then David bought one, and I don't know. Anyway, our racing dreams came and went pretty quick when we realized we didn't have the funds and the means. But this was us living our racing dream.
Yeah.
And the winner was going to get to drive in a 4-cylinder, like a one-off race at Beach Bend. And these were cars that didn't have to have roll cages. This was like drive your mom's.
Yeah, you're just out there in like a Honda Civic.
Yeah, I swear. It's like drive it literally to the track. They open the gate, let you on the track, bring your own, you register, sign a waiver, whatever. Well, they were going to provide the car and everything, and David got to drive in a little 4-cylinder beater. Man, I want to say it was like a Chrysler Town and Country or some weird old car, Sebring or something. And he got out there and got to race like 10 or 12 cars and race a little feature race.
That would be fun though.
Dude, it was so cool. It was the most fun, dude. If we felt like drivers for like one summer, we were in a legit like league and all this and that. I know it's like cheap cars and little cars and but they did a lot of fun stuff there. That was a little oval track, if you remember, and they would put like this stuff on the track to make it slick, and so the first few laps it would be slick, and then it would wear in. So it was just a lot of cool stuff. But go-karts, I'll never stop loving them. That's the kid in me. Go-karts and surprisingly laser tag.
Laser tag is fun too,
dude. If there was a laser tag place here, I'd be another place I'd frequent all the time. Like I love it.
There's one that we do when we go to Big Splash Adventure in French Lick.
Yeah.
And I take it so seriously, which, I mean, laser tag is one of those things that's right up my alley anyway, because I play a lot of, first-person shooter games.
Yeah, you're Call of Duty in there, aren't you?
So I'm 100% like camping it up in a corner somewhere, and there's Sniper. Never... and
Army crawl?
Oh, yeah, 100. So I don't want this to sound like I'm boasting or bragging, but I am always in...
Top score.
Top score, and I'm purposeful. I know which kids to attack.
Yeah,
because you've got the ones that are just running around like, they're looking
they're
up at the sky. By the neon lights. They don't even know what's going on. And I'm like, points.
They can't figure out how stuff can glow in the dark.
Yeah,
they're like, what is this? And you're just like,
they're looking for the black.
You were born in the '90s, like you lived in a black light room. You're just sniping them from some rooftop. I'm the same way, dude. We used to go to one in Bowling Green back in the day. They used to have one, and oh man, you had to be on the top. I didn't go to play to like have fun. I went to be competitive.
Yeah, which
same as the go-kart stuff.
I don't want you to take this the wrong way, but you were probably the most competitive person I know.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And that
Brad's
sometimes to a detriment, right?
I mean, me and Brad
one of these days we're gonna go down
to a detriment. Yeah, we. So yeah,
Brad is very competitive as well. So Brad, we didn't talk about that, but Brad and Brian, very busy with sports stuff right now. Yeah. So we kind of just threw this together real quick. He's on his Wednesday off, and I'm on my lunch break.
Gotcha.
So we'll get them back on here as soon as possible. But yes, very competitive people.
Yeah, So whether it be go-karts, laser tag, video games, like you said, I was rough, and I've told you a lot of times that I hated the way I was, and that's why I'm not like that now. I feel like I'm not like that.
No,
now.
I think you've changed.
We played college football, which by the way, that college football game is fantastic.
Yeah,
worth the wait.
What is it?
College football 25.
Yeah, it's a good game.
When we played that, when the Daytona 500 was rained out. I'm at a place now. I'm 42. I shouldn't be playing video games. So when I get to play video games, I'm just happy that I'm doing something that takes me back to those days when we used to park in front of my mom and dad's huge projection TV and play college hoops or whatever back, in mom and dad's basement. So anytime I get to do it now, it's just, you could beat me by 50. It wouldn't bother me a bit. I'm just having a good time. So, but there was a time when I was a little rough.
Many times a controller being thrown or dropped.
Yeah, dude. That was rough. I don't know what it is about, and I was like that too with basketball.
Yeah, I remember even when we've done golf or when we've done, and a lot of it is not necessarily that you're mad at teammates or anything like that. A lot of times it's just maybe you are discouraged at your performance. You know what I'm saying? Like
that's a
when
good point.
Played disc golf, it would be
now I do get a little frustrated maybe if I'm playing something, which I don't play anything anymore. I mean, when we play basketball, it's just fun.
Yeah, basketball now
we're just having a great time.
Hey, we get to do
goofing
it.
Off.
We're not. It's not something 100%.
But that's a good point. A lot of times I maybe sound like I'm mad at everybody else, but I'm more ticked because I didn't hit a shot or something like that. But video games was a different animal, man. That was rough. That was a rough hang, I would say. Now I will say that and David, if we ever talk to our buddy David Gary on this, he was the person I played video games with the most. That was our life for years. College football, NASCAR. And he would say the same thing, but dude, we I do think about those times a lot, and I think, man, if I could go back, I wouldn't care a bit about the competition of it, just enjoying the moment.
Yeah.
We I think me and David was joking about this at you were there when we went to his mother's to the funeral home for his mother, talking about how we weren't running around chasing girls or anything, like just two losers.
Yeah.
And one of the other's house, like playing college football 2005 or whatever, like playing seasons of video games, like not running around, not being social, just and that's what we talk about when we see each other. We're like, dang, I wish we were playing college football.
It's funny that this topic has come up and we've went down this path because I'm going to call attention to myself, but Mom, again, I know you probably will listen to this and watch this or whatever. This is not a knock against you, but I had my running around days, don't get me wrong, where I'm not proud of things I went and did.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of times that I was home playing video games, especially when I lived with Mom and Dad, like in the house in Caneyville. When they moved down after they quit pastoring church, they were there with me. And there would be comments made like, why do you sit around and play video games all day? You know what I'm saying?
They're like, hey, 25-year-old.
And I get that. I get that the appearance of playing video games all day long does seem lazy. But what's the alternative? Like, I wasn't out partying. I wasn't out, doing this or doing that. I was at home playing video games. You know, would you rather me be safe at home playing video games, or would you rather me be doing, drugs?
True.
True.
Yeah.
So
the funny thing is, a lot of my later video games, and this is one thing that I think we talked about with David also that day. As I got older, some of it would be playing video games while drinking in my mom and dad's house.
Yeah.
But still doing it at their house, not driving, not acting crazy, not, but, man, I miss video games sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
I look over there at we're looking right now at just a great setup of Nintendo Switch, retro Nintendo, which...
Nintendo Wii U.
I've
got the Super Nintendo.
Oh, you still got Wii U?
Yeah,
dude,
the
golf.
Wii U's right there on the left, where next to the Switch.
Nintendo Wii Golf is fantastic.
Oh yeah, all that Wii stuff was very underrated in my opinion. Like it was kind of a thing, and then it kind of died off. People acted like it was gimmicky, but it did get you out and doing things. But that so the NES Classic and the Super NES, I have both over there, and then of course my Xbox Series X, but. The Xbox Series X definitely gets a lot of...
that gets the most
I did want to talk about that. I'm glad this came with, because there's a lot of things that I remember about my dad that I loved. Dad would take me fishing. Dad would do a lot of things with me. Dad was in the Army. So great dad all around.
Yeah.
Your dad's a great dad all around.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to do
Had a birthday yesterday. Shout out Ed Shepard.
That's what I was going to do, is bring out his birthday. So awesome. Happy birthday, Eddie. But Dad, there was one thing that always stood out, and Dad brings it up quite a bit, is he would go, on the military base, he would go and play basketball with me. Even in the old... To me, he was older, but when I think about it now, he probably would have been in his early 30s, so it's not that old.
Yeah.
But we would go up to the little park, play basketball, so much to the point that sometimes my friends would come over and be like, "Hey, you want to go play basketball?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, let's go." And they'd be like, "Well, is your dad coming?"
Yeah.
So it was just a cool feeling that people wanted to hang out with my dad.
Yeah.
Which leads me to last night. And it's happened a few times before, but and it's not that I'm proud of an accomplishment of myself, but it's just the relationship I have with Aiden. We argue as father and son do, don't get me wrong, but
True.
Last night he goes, "Hey, will you play with me and my friends tonight on Call of Duty?"
Oh, dude.
And I was like...
You couldn't drop whatever you're doing quick enough.
I was like, man, I got some things going on. I said, I probably can't. I'm probably going to play with some of my other friends. And I should have put Aiden first, you know what I mean? But I'm sitting there, and Ashley was laying here on me, and we were watching TV or getting ready to watch TV. And she was watching her phone, so I was like,
"Yep,
let me see what Aiden's doing." So I saw it. He was in a little party, so I'm... put my headset on, and I join in, and he goes, "My dad joined the party." And it was just kind of a cool feeling,
you know what would have been the coolest thing? If you snuck in on that party, right? He's like, "Dad's here," and you just ruthlessly destroyed them in that game. You're like, you just quoted Terminator the whole time. Hasta la vista, baby.
It would have been awesome, but of course they have this, it's kind of like Fortnite mode where it's like your team versus 100 teams,
okay,
or
so
whatever.
you're teammates.
So we were teammates, but...
so you had a chance to yell at them when they didn't do good enough.
I was trying to keep it cool. But it was real neat because as soon as I join in, I play a lot, so I've got a high rank, and they were both... Two of his friends were like, "Oh man, your dad's like a master prestige. Look at his, his level. He's really good." And it felt, I mean, like
that's
I
the
said,
nerdiest thing to come out of your mouth.
I know.
Since you used to play that one game where you used to type. What was that game?
Oh, so it was a text
Elder Scrolls of Oblivion.
No, it was Ages of Despair. Yeah. But anyway, so. It was just a cool feeling, and like I said, it was not really a cool feeling that they were saying, "Oh, you're really good." It was just a cool feeling that I was hanging out with Aiden's friends and we were playing some games.
It's cool when you, I had the same experience as a kid. My dad was like, my friends have always thought my dad was cool.
Yeah.
and probably because he's.
I think your dad's cool now.
A lot of it's the fact that he's barely older than me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he's 15 years older than me, so he's not like super old. You know.
Yeah.
So he's always been a youthful kind of guy, and like I said, when I was a kid, he played ball with us a lot, and you know whatever we were doing, he would do it as well. You know, and he was just always a cool guy to be around. But when I have noticed that, like when you're like with me, it's different because I have a daughter. But like occasionally, her friends will acknowledge me in some way, like you know, whether it's just a funny little thing they say or whatever. Like one of Maggie's friends made it. We went out to eat one day and we had one of her friends and she like complimented my outfit, and I thought that was nice.
Yeah,
I was like, okay, you know, thank you. You know, like, so anytime you can look cool with your kids' friends, I think you know I wouldn't have put much into that before I ever thought about having a kid, but now it's like, oh yes, and I'm telling you, the pressure's there when it's a girl.
Yeah.
Because you feel like most of the time you just look like a stupid guy. Like I'm wearing cargo shorts right now. Shout out. You didn't wear any today.
No, I've been lounging.
I don't know why we can't coordinate on this outfit, but
my workout clothes.
But you know, occasionally you put it together when a 15-year-old kid who probably knows a lot more about fashion than you acknowledges that it's nice. That's my playing video games with my son story. You know what I mean? Like Maggie, we don't play video games together very often, but so it's a different dynamic, I guess. But yeah, I could that would be an awesome. I could just picture you like when he asked you, like you already had the headset on, and you're like, "Oh, I didn't hear. Sure, I guess I can play." And you already had the controller. It fired up. Like you had the TV off, but like the Xbox on.
Yeah.
You know? That's how I can kind of picture that happening.
It was definitely exciting, and actually, the two friends that I played with of his, from my understanding, watch or listen to the podcast.
Wow,
one is his name was Hunter, and the other one was Braden. And of course, that topic came up because Aiden was like, "Yeah, Dad had an episode, but somehow you messed it up." And I was like,
nice.
"Thanks, man."
So I got a little shout out about the podcast this week. Chris Lindsay, good buddy, saw me at Walmart yesterday or day before, and he said he listened to it. He enjoyed it, and we talked about it for a little while. So shout out, Chris. Appreciate you for tuning in. He's a good guy.
Oh yeah, I like Chris.
Those Walmart boys, dude. Him and Carl, Nathan. Shout out to them dudes.
Yeah, Nathan's a good guy.
Awesome guys. Worked with them for a long time.
Man, Chris. Speaking of Chris. I don't know if it was. I think it was last summer. Last summer gave me some. Well, it was the summer before last because I did one of those Doubting Thomas reviews.
Yeah.
But he had brought like his own pickled pickles and jalapenos in a jar for me to try. Top notch pickler.
Ooh,
you wouldn't.
The pickle man.
If y'all knew what I was.
That's definitely what I'm calling him from now on.
For whoever may not know Chris is like a rocker. You know, like he was a played guitar and he's in a band, that kind of thing. Good guy, but I would not take him for a canner. He's a garden canner.
I think he's very in tune with, with home responsibilities and stuff. Like we've had a lot of conversations about, taking care of stuff at home and around the houses, and that's a different side of him you wouldn't expect when he's talking about playing guitar or I never did get a chance to go see him play. Man, I remember back. 10, 15 years ago, hearing him talk, people from Walmart would go watch him play. And I would be like, man, I want to go watch Chris play, and I never did. So maybe he'll dust off that guitar and get a band together, and maybe we'll go watch him sometime. That'd be sick. Yeah. Shout out, Chris.
One topic I wanted to get into today that was on, like I said before, that show that disappeared, it wasn't all great. Some of it was kind of boring. But one topic I did want to get back into because I thought it was so good was the food and buffet.
Please.
And so we're going to rehash this. So I'm going to try to go down the same path. But you said you took Maggie to go get her permit.
Yep.
You went to Moonlight. Moonlight's an amazing buffet. Moonlight was closed.
Yep. They were closed.
They were open for ordering on the menu. But one thing you never do in life, and this is a Thomas fact that you need to take to your grave, If you go to Moonlight and you do not eat buffet, you might as well walk out the door because there is no point in eating anything on that menu.
What are we doing
off
here?
the menu? So you left there and you went to Old South, which is what? It's on 54.
It's on 54. Old South is a another barbecue / buffet, smaller than Moonlight, but well known in the community.
Yeah, if you are from Grayson County, you probably it took a long time of searching and finding and talking to different people for me to even know about Old South. The only reason I knew about it is because you worked in Owensboro for a while at that training camp.
Yep.
So Old South, excellent in my opinion. Since I've been there now, I think as far as meats go, it is better than Moonlight Barbecue. They have a fried pork tenderloin that they put on there. It's amazing. I've never had breakfast, but you had their breakfast buffet. Yep. Tell us about the breakfast buffet.
Yeah, so disappointed not going to Moonlight. Is the only reason we went to Moonlight is because I hadn't had it in probably 20 years, and it's right over by the regional licensing office. It's literally like a light or two down on Frederica, right?
No, it's on 54 as well, right?
No, not Frederica. It's on.
It's just on the other side of 54.
Yeah, it's not on 54. Parish Avenue.
Yeah.
Anyway, go there. They even walk us in. Go to seat us. I look over. I see the bare bones
like nothing
buffet. I go, what's going on here? No breakfast buffet. The lady's like, no. Yeah, I got instantly sad.
Yeah.
And the lady's like, no, you can order breakfast off the menu. And I was like, we're good. So we literally walk right back out. We go to Old South, which I knew in my heart of hearts that Old South was superior because we lived there when I worked at the academy, the Walmart Academy, right down from the store. So we ate lunch there every day, just get miserable, have to go back and facilitate in a classroom environment.
Yeah.
While being in a food coma.
So heavy.
Rough.
Yep.
So we go to Old South. Of course, I walk in to the beautiful smells of bacon, sausage, and then I go up. They've got the stuff I push aside, the fruit and all that.
Yeah.
Let's get that out of the way. Go straight to the biscuits and gravy, the pancakes, the sausage, 2 sausages, because you got to have a choice of patty or links.
Yeah.
And thank goodness for the American establishment for giving me the choice.
Yeah.
Like a good buffet would do. Bacon, all the stuff. And Maggie was on the fence about it. Maggie's like, she's not a big eater. She doesn't get that side from me. She's more like her mom. So she was like, kind of could take it or leave it. But she walks in and she's like, looks pretty good.
Yeah.
I even got a little, like, not bad. And so I like 3 plates of stuff, dude.
Oh,
just
sounds
smashing it. And it's so good. And like I said, like you said, you've done the dinner buffet or the lunch buffet. It's so good. Fried chicken, amazing.
Yeah.
But their breakfast buffet is to not be slept on, dude. It's and it's, everybody knows because it's packed in there.
Yeah.
And they're so nice. But shout out to that. But we went down the buffet path a little bit. Couple things. Why would you ever order off a menu at a buffet? Yeah. Like I said, I was kind of ticked at Moonlight for even being open without the buffet being open.
I feel it's a waste of labor. Like you have a bunch of employees in there trying to work.
Yeah.
And you're not even doing what you're known for.
It's almost like we're going to have this place open for a couple hours while we prep the good show. With the, we might get a few stragglers that order off the breakfast menu. When I'm like, hey, just fire it up at 11 for the 11:15 buffet or 11:30 buffet. I'm a big buffet guy. And I think I talked about this in the last episode. I stumbled on an article and I didn't read it. I just read the headline that buffets are making a comeback.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. Like we've talked about, locally our Golden Corral shut down, so we don't have any options for buffet in the city of Litchfield except for Chinese. If you're in the surrounding communities, we have Mel's Cafe, I think is what it's called. Yeah. They have a buffet a lot of times. It's pretty good. I've had their seafood buffet and I've had their breakfast buffet, and then on Easter we went and we had like ham and roast beef. I mean, it was good.
Golly.
The breakfast buffet was good the day we went, but they had like an Easter egg hunt that day or something like that. So they didn't have all the stuff on the menu. So literally I just went back up there multiple times getting eggs and bacon and sausage. You know, and their eggs.
Carnivore.
It was glorious.
Carnivore's dream.
We had that discussion. You said you didn't eat any biscuits and gravy. I did not touch the biscuits.
No,
and
I
gravy.
did eat biscuits and gravy.
So I was just eating my meat.
That's impressive that you did that because we not only since we recorded the Lost episode and we're on the buffet conversation, I actually got to eat Chinese buffet for the first time. I haven't had Chinese buffet since the last incident at the local place.
The Asian
buffet. So it's been probably 2 years. You know, me and Maggie used to do it all the time. She loved it. But so I went with Tosh and Blake to Chinese buffet.
Right.
The one over by Roses.
Yeah.
First time I ever been there.
Buffet,
Kingdom.
Right. Yeah.
Dude, slamming. I ate the most I've ever eaten at a Chinese buffet. 4 plates.
That honey chicken, you cannot beat that. Which it's not the. You know, I like General Tso's. It's got that spiciness and sweet.
Yeah. The
honey chicken has not really got any spice to it, but man, it's still so good.
And so that was amazing. And one place I do want to go back soon is you were talking about Las Chalupas buffet in E-Town when they had their lunch buffet, a Mexican lunch buffet, guys. If I had the money to either do, if it's not a food truck, I would do a Mexican buffet. Of course, you'd have to have the authentic stuff. You'd have to have the right people to fix it. But it's a good place if you're on the kind of diet that we try to stay on, a low carb diet. You can do that, or you can just go nuts, right?
Yeah.
And you went nuts, didn't you?
I don't understand why it's not a bigger thing than what it is.
I know. Why don't they have it at dinner sometimes?
There's probably 6 or 7 Mexican restaurants at a minimum in Elizabethtown.
Yeah. Oh, they're
and
they're all great.
And they're all great, but only one of them does a lunch buffet, and it's strictly only Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
You know, till lunchtime.
And it's phenomenal, dude.
But I don't remember we went to one in Louisville when we were younger called Ernesto's.
Yeah. That's what Las Chalupas used to be too, I think, was Ernesto's back in the day.
Gotcha. And I don't understand, like, there literally should be a Mexican buffet restaurant that you, again, going back to buffet, like we were talking about Moonlight, ordering off the menu should be like an afterthought. You should just be like, I'm going up to the bar, I'm going to get a bunch of this.
To me, like a Mexican restaurant, if you want to have, it's something that makes sense. Like if their buffet is going to be limited. They're going to have those little enchiladas and cheese, chicken and cheese. I could just eat those until I'm just dying inside.
Right.
But they also have a lot of cool things on the menu. So I could see I would never make fun of somebody that went in and ordered off a menu at a Mexican buffet. But keep in mind that I'm going to go straight to the buffet every time.
Yeah. I'm with you, but if I was going to do that, why not go to like just a place that has, you know, like you said, if I'm going to a Mexican restaurant that has a buffet, I'm going straight. You don't have to bring that menu.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be here for that long. I'm going straight to it.
You say how many? Since I see that you say grab a new plate every time. Do you have enough plates for me?
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like if you got a fresh stack of plates up there, because I'm going to go through them pretty quick.
It's like Ron Swanson with the bacon.
Keep the Diet Pepsi coming, or the Diet Mountain Dew. I need it to be no less than a third of a cup, because I'm smashing those little burrito supremes on there. You know the ones I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about.
It's like a 5-layer burrito supreme on the buffet. I can taste it right now. I'm starving to death.
I'm going to give you a little unpopular opinion here. Most people like their food fresh. When it comes to Mexican food, I feel like the longer it sits there, the better it is.
You know what? You're not alone on that. You know what it is? It's the queso, dude. The queso, like, I get ticked when I get queso at a Mexican restaurant and it's runny.
Oh, man,
I like
it's
it
like
to
milk.
sit there and get a little...
Get it congealed.
Yeah.
Get that thick,
Yeah, and I think Rachel and Maggie are the opposite. I think they like it more thin. I like it thick.
Yeah.
It's pause. But no, I think that's right because they put it in those things and it's on a hot plate, and I think it just kind of burns some of those. Some of those things get like a crispy edge on them at the buffet.
It's like I was telling you, those quesadillas that they had in the bottom of this pan.
Oh man, they get a little burnt.
No, they got a little crispy, little burnt, little char on them, but also they had that cheese that had congealed, and it almost, it's like when you get fajita nachos, which is a favorite thing of mine. the juice that sits at the bottom of fajita nacho's plate and the chip soaks it up, those chips are easily the best chips on that thing, and that's what had happened to these quesadillas is they had soaked up all that cheese.
So that is we always talk about food. It's funny that we're always going to come full circle to food. That's our common 100%. Thread, you and I. We're talking about Mexican restaurants. We kind of transitioned from buffet to Mexican. I didn't eat a lot of Mexican restaurants when I was a kid. We always ate Sonny's Pit Barbecue. We would eat Ryan's, like buffet. We would eat fast food. So like until I was married or hanging out with you and going out and eating on my own, I didn't eat a lot of different places. But my first memories of eating Mexican restaurant is with you going to get fajita nachos.
Oh, fajita nachos.
With jalapenos.
Yeah. Remember I got them one time and they were like straight up fresh jalapenos.
They gave us the right ones that day.
And that's what you fire, want. Yeah, but they're good.
Yeah, and ever since that's what I want. I don't want pickled ones. I want those hot ones.
And Chalupa's has, when you go to their little buffet, they have a plate where that's all that's on the plate is stripped up fresh fried jalapenos, and they're good, man.
Yeah, hey, if you guys eat Mexican restaurant and you like spicy, ask them to fry you up some jalapenos to put.
Oh man, so good.
But that's some of my early Mexican restaurant memories is going with you to eat that stuff because I feel like our friendship is that one of those common threads is food. We've always enjoyed eating food. We've always enjoyed going to get food. Like that's I remember going to hang out with you and spend the night, and we'd stop by Taco Bell and get a family pack. And
we'd get like a grande meal and just smash it.
We would eat it on the way back to your house. Going to Golden Corral Buffet in those early days, going to Mr. Getty's Buffet, going to E-Town, going to Bowling Green. We used to go to that. We talked about it the other day, but that now defunct Asian buffet in Bowling Green that looked like a fisherman's boat or something.
Yeah, it used to be a kingfish or something like that, I think, or a Moby Dick or something, but it was a building, and around it would have been like a moat or something of that nature, like a pond or a fountain.
Very fancy. I thought it was fancy. I was like, "Woo, look at this!"
But now it's not it's just an empty pool.
I think now it's tore down. I don't think that place exists.
But yeah, we used to eat there quite a bit, and then we ate at Toots in Bowling Green was awesome. It's gone now too, but some good places. We told the story of you talk about bring up Sonny's. There was times where we were, the closest Sonny's at that time was 3 hours away in Corbin or Somerset, one of those two. And, we would make a trip here from Litchfield, drive 3 hours, go eat, and then come right back. And no shopping, no nothing. It was just to go eat Sonny's.
That was a staple of my childhood. I always have a special place for that.
And they had all you can eat too, man. It's so good. Just, hey, I want the sliced pork. And they just keep bringing you sliced pork over and over again. It's so good.
And all you can eat, I feel like that's a dangerous thing for me. If I went into a place and they were like, "It's all you can eat," I'd be like, "Are you sure you want to do that?"
Yeah.
Like,
are you sure?
Are you sure you're not going to kick me out after after my fifth bowl or fifth plate of this stuff? But man, that's something I wish a lot of places did more of, was all you can eat, because I'd like to really see if it's all you can eat. All you can eat, all I can eat, or is it all you're willing to let me eat for $15 or whatever?
It's funny when those things come up, because Red Lobster will do like the all you can eat shrimp fest, or Olive Garden will do all you can eat endless pasta bowls.
Right.
It's like I never want to visit those places until they're going on. And I set a goal. It's been a while, but there was an all-you-can-eat shrimp fest at Red Lobster, and I told some guys I work with one day, I said, I'm going to go there one day with the intention of making them regret offering this to people.
Yeah.
And I think that day I ended up, I don't know if I went with Ashley or him.
Since then, Red Lobsters went bankrupt.
Oh, yeah, no. So, yeah, exactly. They're like, we got to take this off the menu. No more.
Your name is in the fine print of, like, you could go on their website and read, like, why they're not doing endless shrimp anymore, and it's this gentleman here,
but 75 I think was the count one day.
75 is what you get?
And it was you got to stay away from like the Alfredo, they have the shrimp Alfredo thing. It was straight like butterfly or probably the scampi and stuff like that, or the grilled.
That's one thing
I just kept the tails.
That's one thing I've wanted to do at like B-Dubs. is go and see how many traditional wings I can actually. Isn't it bad that that's
Yeah.
when I set goals for myself in life? I don't say how can my 401k grow today. I go, can I eat 100 wings at Buffalo Wild Wings? Dude, it's I don't know what it is about food, but I love it. But I would love to see. I've never actually sat down and see how many wings I can eat, but and I'm not talking about like in a food competition setting where I'm trying to eat.
Yeah, you're not trying to win
minutes.
anything. You're just trying to eat.
For instance, we had the hot dog eating thing.
Yeah.
We had a hot dog eating contest at Walmart one time. A few of us guys, I think Brad did it, me, this guy Harry we used to work with, and we did it as a time thing because it was on lunch break and everybody was in there, and I didn't eat that many.
Yeah.
But if you put me in a setting where there's no time limit or it's an hour, if you say, okay, here's a burger challenge, you've got an hour, I can handle.
Damage
I can
over
put
time.
myself
Yeah.
with. I could put myself in. I would consider myself to be a pretty heavy eater, so I would think that I could compete. But we may have to do that sometime.
Yeah.
Do you think it'd be worth it for me and you to go to Buffalo Wild Wings? And would it make good content if we, did it and we came back and talked about like the whole experience of it?
I think it would be awesome.
Yeah.
I say let's do it. We'll have to go up on a Tuesday or something when it's BOGO, or otherwise we're going to have to take out a second mortgage.
Yeah. Do I want rock? Do I want to pay my mortgage? Or do I want to challenge myself with Buffalo Wild Wings chicken wings? That's a toss-up for me. But no, I would... that's always been a goal of mine. I feel like I'm at the age now where I got to start living these dreams.
It's funny you bring up wings. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm saying, goals. I want to eat the wings.
Yeah.
Get this landscaping done. I want to retire. I just got to put them in order.
Yeah.
Get a little order in my life.
We went up Saturday to Wingstop, and I know you've been wanting to go. Did you get to go yet?
Still have not went, dude.
Okay. So we went up Saturday, and I told Ashley, I actually told Aiden first. I said, if your mom asks where we're going to go, I said, say Wingstop. We're going to go to Wingstop and eat today. Well, they have this deal on the app. It's like 20 boneless wings and an app. I mean, like a side, and it's $16.99. So not a bad deal.
No, that's good.
So I got me one and I got Aiden one. Well, I don't know who they have in the back counting wings, but I feel like they are not very bright. Because let me tell you something. Me and Aiden, I felt like I ate a lot in the restaurant, and I still came home with almost the amount of wings that should have came in my 20-piece order.
You
Does that
think
make
somebody
sense?
was, counting,
They were daydreaming counting or something.
But they were doing what I'm saying is it was better for you, right? You
Oh,
didn't
yeah,
get
yeah.
shorted.
No, I didn't get shorted.
That's love, right
So
there.
I got 4 flavors. I got Cajun, some kind of sweet chili, regular buffalo, like a medium buffalo, and then mango habanero. And if you had 20 and you got 4 of them, you should have had 5, 5, 5, and 5.
Nice.
I'm pretty
Math.
sure I had 10, 10, 10, and 10. So I think I
What?
got double. Aiden also, he got 2 flavors, and I'm pretty sure he got 20 and 20. So we ended up with like 80-some wings. He brought them home in the refrigerator, and he ate on his for like the next 2 days.
Nice.
Was it good? Wingstop is an acquired taste. Ashley's not a big fan of Wingstop. I'm not a huge fan of it. I think, like we talked about last week, I think they definitely lose in the sauce area.
To me, that's the only thing that keeps the doors open at Buffalo Wild Wings, brother, is jamming jalapeno.
Yeah, but for $16.99
zing.
or whatever, I mean, and getting 40 wings and some fries, and I got the corn on the cobs again. That Cajun corn's good.
I'm going to go traditional, brother, especially if I'm taking it home and I don't want to look like a person eating his last meal.
Yeah.
Like traditional wings in a restaurant's not a good look for me.
Yeah.
It's a little like Walking Dead, zombie, like. I feel like people probably turn their head when they see me eating wings, but if I'm bringing them home, I'm going traditional so I can get nasty.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Well, I'm with you.
So maybe the wings are better traditional. I don't know.
I need to try them. I need to try them. I tell you who's got the best. Like, don't get me wrong, Buffalo Wild Wings has a very good sauce selection, but those wings that we get at Mr. Getty's are so big. Like the wing at.
Just wish I had a better way to cook them.
Yeah, they need to be deep fried instead of put through the pizza oven. But the wings at Buffalo Wild Wings are like, if you get like a not the peg leg, but
They're
the
like
wingette or whatever.
Peg leg.
The wingette is
Peg
so
leg
tiny,
is
man.
what I have when I leave Buffalo Wild Wings because of all the diabetes that I have from now. Yeah, they're like Cornish hens legs or something.
Yeah,
You know
for sure.
What I mean?
Yep.
What is this adolescent chicken wing day? Like chicks,
Yeah.
chick legs.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very small. I feel like when back in the day they were bigger.
Yeah.
They must have got away from the human growth hormone chickens or whatever the steroid chickens.
Wings and Rings had a good selection, but they've of course shut down.
Their biggest thing for me, what I liked about them was the way they would put those wings in a bowl and it would be drowning in the sauce.
Oh,
that's
like,
something that
you have to
everybody
put little life
yeah.
jackets on the wings.
Yeah, you're like, you're gonna drown before I eat you.
But it was good. Wings and Rings was a really good place.
It's R.I.P. Right?
Yeah, it's gone.
So that's there's a couple cursed buildings. I feel like in E-Town, that's one of them, and also the place over there by Texas Roadhouse. I feel like that's a cursed building.
Where Shoguns is right now, and they had to shut down
Baker's,
because
Hawks.
they had Shoguns. I went there a couple times, and I was
Never
not a
tried
fan. It was there was something with the sushi. They got shut down for like a couple weeks. I don't know if it was maybe it was roaches or there was some reason they shut down like for a couple weeks there, but they are back open. But yes, that building is 100% cursed.
Because all the other businesses in E-Town, man, most of the time they thrive. You don't see
yeah.
But there's like a couple buildings that have had multiple restaurants.
I tell you what I'm excited for, and me and you will have to do this. Maybe there's a day that
say it on 3. 1, 2, 3. K-pop.
K-pot will be good.
Dang
yes,
it.
but no, I'm thinking of there is a new wing place, not Duke's.
Wings or pizzas?
It's Wings, and it is taking the place of Texas Outlaw. So like,
are you serious?
come out of Texas Roadhouse.
This is breaking news
Duff's.
on the podcast.
It's called Duff's.
What?
So it's a friend of mine. They used to own. She used to work as a.
Why are we even caring about Wingstop? Let's talk
Yeah.
about this place.
So she used to be the manager at Bluegrass Cellular when I first started the store. Well, she took over as owner of one of the Dairy Queens, and I guess they sold it. When they sold that Dairy Queen in E-Town, they've recently announced that Texas Outlaw is going to be
So
at
Texas
Duff's Wings.
Texas Chainsaw or Texas Outlaw, whatever it's called, finally closed down?
Yeah, it's closed. So this Duff's is supposed to have like authentic buffalo chicken wings, like straight from
Buffalo.
I think Duff's. I think Duff's is from. I'm gonna Google real quick while we're sitting here. Hopefully, I don't take up too much time. But
Dude, that would be.
Duff's.
That's crazy. I didn't know that. I knew Donato's was coming. I knew
it's open now.
K-Pot. Donato's is open?
Yep.
Sick. K-Pot's getting ready to open. I'm gonna bust that out. But you're giving me breaking news on the cast here, man.
Duff's Wings.
Ooh,
I
like the
it's
exterior.
from Amherst, New York. But Duff's Famous Wings is what it is called.
From New York, so Buffalo, is that where Buffalo wings originate?
I assume
Buffalo,
it's
New York?
I don't know the backstory on it, but I mean, look at this. That's the boneless, traditional.
What is that sandwich right there? Is that roast beef?
Like a pulled pork or something.
Oh, my goodness.
Or maybe it's a roast beef. Yeah, it's a roast beef, I think. But yes, I mean, I'm excited about this place coming to town.
Oh, my gosh,
so
dude.
It's gonna be exciting.
That's going to give us so much more things to talk about.
Oh, man, we're going to have so much more food talk. But, yeah, I think that's a good idea that one day we go up and we try to eat as many wings as possible and we come back and talk about our achievement.
It's going to happen.
Which I've done the hot challenge, the blazing challenge a few times.
See, to me, it's not, can I handle the hot? It's, can I handle the pure volume? Yeah. I'm thinking no less than 100 for me. I'm going to set a goal, 100 bone-in traditional wings. If anybody listens to this, let us know what you think the over and under is on that. Can I do 100?
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you I can, but y'all can sit there and debate.
That bill's going to be hefty.
Yeah. We're going to have to hit and buy one.
Yeah.
What is it?
BOGO.
BOGO
Day.
Yeah.
That's Tuesdays for those that need to know. But that is it for us today, guys. But like I said, y'all can comment or whatever. If y'all follow the Facebook page, Dad Jokes and Deep Dives, you can follow us on Spotify and the YouTube channel. All of it is going to be Dad Jokes and Deep Dives, so just give us a search. Again, this is not necessarily to grow us as much as it is and be popular or anything like that, as much as it's just to give our kids content to go back and listen to us 20 years from now.
And for you all. I enjoy hearing people shout out as we see them. It's a lot of local people that that listen to it. A lot of our friends and stuff. So if they get a good laugh out of it, or it gives them something to listen to on their drives to work or whatever, then we've accomplished what we set out to accomplish. So,
but yeah, we'll look forward to seeing you guys. Y'all have a good one.
Peace.